This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Good to be back in the Covenant. Holy cow, that was a long journey abroad. And we welcome you to the full-strength edition of 9 to noon at KFAN. Good to be back in that glove cuvee, that love covenant, off a Minnesota Vikings victory at wonderful Tottenham Hotspur. Wonderful Tottenham Hotspur. I was thinking yesterday that now having called 3 games at Tottenham Hotspur, graciously by the Minnesota Vikings and for KFAN, it truly is kind of a home away from home. It's, you know where to go, you know people's names that you've seen before at certain security entrances. I didn't get a chance to be in line next to a security line next to famed Harry Kane this year and not know who he was, then be introduced to him and then be like, whoa, hey, I know who you are. It was different on the sideline. No Woody Harrelson, no Harry Kane, but plenty of festivities from Tottenham Hotspur. A very, very, and I probably said this before, and Nordo, you've been there. Just a very well-designed, beautiful, detail-oriented stadium. Yeah. Whether it's on or off the pitch. It's just a wonderful, wonderful stadium, man, and good morning.
Good morning. No, it's so interesting when you go to some of the soccer stadiums, you have the difference between equity, history, it's aging a bit. That's one side of the spectrum. And then this first-class sporting facility, in some ways as Americanized as it gets, right? Like you were up in Dublin, you're hearing about locker rooms, everything's smaller. It ain't built for Elijah Williams. Tottenham is, and what they put together there is absolutely first rate. And the Vikings, it's kind of becoming a home away from home, especially if you keep getting dubs at Tottenham.
2 hours of bus rides and a 9-hour flight across the Atlantic later, and here we are. Here we are with 9 segments to talk out this 3-2 record. Fend text from Florio, wondering why I haven't read Big Shield. And unfurl a festive weekend wrap courtesy of Hoffman Cooling and Heating, because things heated up late for the Minnesota Vikings, and they ran down a pesky underdog in the shape of the Cleveland Browns starting a Sunday that ended up being upset-laden. I mean, whether it's Tennessee going to Arizona and winning, then cap the day with Drake May, cap the day with Drake May, cap the day with Drake May. Going to Buffalo and beating the Bills? Are you kidding me? Whew. I mean, I forgot that game was taking 3-2, taking place because the time difference is just so wonky, where if you want to watch a game like that, it's like 1:15, 1:20 in the morning. But then we lost Wi-Fi on the flight across the Atlantic. Yours truly gets into settings. Now I have applications on something called a dock jumping out at me in animated fashion like it's early Halloween. And, oh, there it is. Hey, there it is. The message application icon. Boom, there it is. So after all of that, here we are. We're back home at FM 100.3 KFAN, and it's great to be here with a main man, mad producer after things heated up late and the pesky underdog, the Browns, were fixing to put an L on the Minnesota Vikings, who were only favored by 3.5. It's not like they were, supposed to win the game by a wide margin. But nevertheless, they got the money. They got to the winner's circle. And truly, that's all that matters into the bye week. Locker room drive-by, starting with Carson Wentz and Justin Jefferson, our next segment. And speaking of surging late to victory, the champs were run down by some bucking Broncos and are undefeated no more.
Broncos go without a huddle. Nix rolls to his right, stops, throws, pass caught. Evan Ingram with the catch, dives to the goal line. Touchdown, Denver. And the Broncos are going for 2 here.
Ooh.
This would be the first 2-point conversion of the year.
Ooh.
Play fake. Nix rolls to his right, throws the ball to the end zone. Franklin has it. 2-point conversion is good.
Hey.
The Broncos in front, 18-17.
Weekend wrap. Hoffman Cooling and Heating, hoffmanheating.net. Denver went to the den of the champion and outscored said Birds 18-0 over the final 13 minutes of the game and improved to 3-2. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to become the first team to go back-to-back in the NFC East in like 20 years, 2 decades, maybe 2 decades plus. Well, them Birds fell to 4-1. Minnesota hooks the Philadelphia Eagles out of the bye week. That's a week from 2 weeks from yesterday, a week from this upcoming Sunday, and at the palatial Purple Paradise known as U.S. Bank Stadium. Weekend wrapping has us a bit gob-smacked with this one. The vaunted Baltimore Ravens are 1-4.
CJ hands off to Chubb through a seam right side, has the 20, the 15, 10, 5. Chubb, rock and roll, touchdown, Houston. Nick Chubb to the house.
It was all made possible by the block of Xavier Hutchinson. He cleared out a linebacker, I think it was Buchanan, and just bodied him up, moved him, shielded him, and it was an easy read for Chubb. Then it was just escape outside and turn on the afterburners.
C.J. Stroud, quarterback for the Texans, had absolutely his best game in a couple of years. My man went for 4 touchdowns and 0 picks and just chewed up high key, one of the game's worst defenses in the Baltimore Ravens, who also were without Lamar Jackson. Back to the NFC. Well, looky here. The Saints found the winner's circle.
2 receivers to Dark's right, 2 to his left. Saints bring 5, fires it, picked off by the Saints. Kool-Aid McKinstry at the 45. And he goes to celebrate. The first one ended a drive at the 5. That one, he just leapt and ended that drive for the Giants. How about 5 turnovers in bunches, baby?
Wow. First win of the year for who dat? First win of the year for who dat? Which threw it back to the 80s. Well, throwback game to the 80s. And it has nothing to do with uniforms or the fleur-de-lis. They threw it back to the 80s with touchdowns, including one to Rashid Shaheed for 87 yards and a fumble recovery touchdown by safety Jordan Howden from 86 out. Big Blue coughed that thing up 5 times, the box said. 5 times. And turns out the Jackson Dart pandemonium was short-lived. P.J. Fleck joins the Covenant around 10:45. And sadly, the news out of Columbus was not great.
Takes a handoff, fakes a reverse pitch, looks to throw, pulls the trigger, goes deep down the right side. Wide open, Tate in the end zone, score! 44 yards through the air. Julian saying to Carnell Tate, who got behind corner, Zaquan Bryan.
Wow, that's a kick in the old momentum. Purdue is here Saturday and is winless on the road, while PJ's team, the Gophers, are 3-0 at home and aim to turn that frown upside down. Golden Gophers hockey split with Michigan Tech to start the season, and give it up for Rico Blasi and his St. Thomas Tommies. That hockey team beat St. Cloud State, and St. Thomas is ranked 19th in the country. Well done, Tommy Nation. That's the weekend wrap provided by Hoffman Cooling and Heating and HoffmanHeating.net.
Can I offer one additional nugget?
Please do.
For the Hoffman Heating and Cooling weekend wrap.
It's better than a Covenant cleanup.
It's one of the most insane ways that you could potentially fumble a game, lose a game. Whatever happened with the Cards yesterday, disastrous.
3rd down and 2 on the Cardinal 20-yard line. Down 9. Play clock at 7 as they break the huddle. 2 receivers right, 2 to the left. Play clock at 2. It's at 1. Snap to Ward. Drops back to throw. Steps up. In trouble far side. Keeps the play alive. Throws left side. Picked off at the 5-yard line by Rabbit. And he fumbles the ball into the end zone, and it's recovered by Tennessee, and it's a touchdown for the Titans, recovered by Tyler Lockett. Oh, my goodness. Taylor Demerson picked it off, tried to get up and run with it, and he coughed it up, and the Titans score a touchdown, and it's 21-18 with 4:39 to go.
So they went from being up 21-6 in the fourth.
Yeah.
Emari DeMercado has what is a absolute runaway 70-some yard touchdown. Mm-hmm. Does the classic flip the ball away bit at like the 1 inch line for a fumble out of the end zone. Mm-hmm. Could have gone up 28-6. And then Cam Ward throws a pick. Dude fumbles it, finds its way to the end zone. Tyler Lockett, they would eventually kick a game-winning field goal. Unbelievable way to lose a game. Maybe one of the most embarrassing losses in that franchise's history.
I wouldn't be surprised to take that leap, or I wouldn't be shocked if that leap taken were to be accurate, because it's very interesting what you just said. What we heard in that call, was that the Cardinals or Titans radio network?
That sounded like Pash. I think it was Cards.
That's what I thought. Well, because when when you're on a 9-hour, 3-minute flight with moderate to severe chop over the Atlantic, before you lose internet, I mean, I think I probably watched that highlight 3 times. I think I looked at every box score 4 times. Tried to figure out how to get my apps on my dock to stop jumping out at me because I hit a bad button. Old people do that. But what Dave Pash said, playing into what you said about the shocking nature of the upset, despite this league being an upset-laden league. The Ravens are 1-4. New England went to Buffalo and won a football game. Are you kidding me? It's DeMercado was the one who intercepted it, right?
DeMercado was the running back who fumbled it away. Let me try and find the...
Okay, so the bird who intercepted it, the first thing when we were on a bus from the tarmac to Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center to get our suitcases and stuff, is I watched that highlight with somebody deeply rooted within the Covenant. And the first thing they said was, you got to go, and it's like 4 minutes left. You got to go down there. You can't intercept it and think you're going to run and be the hero.
I think it was Dadrion Taylor Demerson was the name of the picker.
And the picker, as I was told, you have to go down there. That's putting valor as the better part of discretion. Okay, I understand, but I mean, if my man throws it to me and I got an open lane and I see the ends, I'm probably running. And it has nothing to do with selfishness or lacking self-awareness, or yes, it does involve not being completely in tune with game situation and clock and score.
Sure.
It's kind of like when so-and-so runs up the middle or runs outside, he's inside the 5 to the 3 to the 2. No, go down.
Right.
Make him use, you're right. But unless that's talked about, and unless, those are the mandated rules, then it's, you've heard me say it before, sadly, sometimes human nature gets to win too. So, if he intercepts it and goes down, the upset does not happen.
Well, it's an inexplicable fumble. He's out of control as he's catching it, rolling to the ground, but he wasn't touched.
Well, how about your guy who kicked it?
That's a complete L.
Got Halverson running a loose at the 30. He's kicking the football.
Who brought the Clydesdales onto the field?
Zach goes, stick to the Sky Sport wire and splashing on X, okay? And stop kicking the oblong object.
I think grand scheme, you want a player to be empowered with his instincts. There's a similar, even more egregious situation would be if he had caught it in the end zone. It's the classic, like, you got to kneel for the touchback, but then once in a while somebody thinks that they're Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, but see,
and
Caleb
they get stopped at the 6 or something.
But Caleb Johnson was on a bye, so therefore they didn't really have to worry about the Caleb Johnsons of the world messing things up with end zone related plays and whether should I stay or should I go now.
So in the end, it's again one of the most egregious losses.
Crazy.
That via highlights the combination of the fumble at the goal line. Our guy Jonathan Gannon, by the way, just let DeMercado have it on the sideline. Yeah, DeMercado's, he's kind of leaning. He's being consoled by an O-lineman. It was number 70 maybe. Yeah. And Gannon came up to him and just dressed him down.
Holy
160 decibels on the sideline. Pretty ugly in Arizona for them right now.
For the whole world to see. Thanks for the addition, the Audible, the 1A, for the weekend wrap provided by Hoffman Cooling and Heating, hoffmanheating.net. Quality company, quality staff. Owner Scott Hendricks loves himself some purple. So he had to be enthralled with the 4-point win over Cleveland yesterday out London way. And We fade the music and fire up 9 to noon because here's the deal. Fire off some talkbacks for the Covenant. Talkbacks for the Covenant, you know what to do. You all are elite football minds, so go ahead and create the subject matter if you are so inclined, or maybe a playoff this/these. The A topic with the Minnesota Vikings victory was the makeshift Minnesota moving company. And yes, Wentz, Addison, Jefferson, Hawkinson, they were their best when their best was required. But in all my years calling games for this team, never have I witnessed the fortitude and results provided by a bevy of moving company part-timers. You know, they into the game, the Vikings had 12 different offensive line combinations through 4 games. Well, that ended up being 13 when Darisaw leaves on the snap count and Rouse goes to right tackle and School goes over to left. So they've used 13 different offensive line combinations through 5 games, which is absolutely absurd. Major credit goes to somebody I know that you like a lot from our interviews at the facility at TCOPC. You know we. Major credit goes to offensive line coach Chris Cooper and assistant Keith Carter. Now, last week, you know, when there really wasn't much to do, I sat on a berm at Hanbury Manor and watched more practice than I have in years. And generally, I would hunker down. I would find a spot adjacent to where the offensive line was executing its toil. Watching Cooper and Carter work with Joe Huber, Blake Brandell, Justin School, and Walter Rouse, it was mesmerizing because you kind of knew that they're putting the pedal to the metal here because these guys are not only going to play, they're going to play a lot, and they're very important unless you want to go into the bye 2 and 3. And drill after drill after drill after drill, getting those guys ready for this rough and tumble Browns front 7. Then Darisaw departs as part of the recovery plan, and Walter Rouse hits right tackle, with School switching to left. And all that while contesting Myles Garrett, who, along with Aiden Hutchinson, absolutely make up best in show when it comes to the overall nature of pass rushers. Myles Garrett's unbelievable. I mean, you watch back some of these replays and like stuff up to the game, so strong and so fast and so smart. Brandell was playing center in a game for the first time in his football career, maybe life, at any level. And Huber was undrafted, and outside of a penalty, get this, Joe Huber, undrafted Wisconsin. Now, there was a penalty they probably could do without rather late, but he outplayed Mason Graham, the 5th overall pick in the 2025 draft. Yeah, I know what I said. Go back and watch it. I had 9 hours to watch it, and he did. Cooper and Carter worked so diligently this week with Walter Rouse. There were times, because Darisaw he was a DNP, a did not practice Wednesday and Thursday, but it was the rest bit, part of the recovery plan, so nothing to see here, so to speak. And Cooper and Carter, the offensive line coaches, worked so diligently this week with Walter Rouse. There were times I wondered if he was like starting and there was a problem nobody was talking about. Left guard Joe Huber making his first start. He came up huge on 2 of the game's biggest plays. On the late hit to Jefferson, he held his ground, so Wentz had a clean lane of vision. And on the game winner to Addison, he got to Myles Garrett just in time to shove him out of the way so the Vikings could win the game. Because Garrett was fixing to run around somebody, and then Huber, last-ditch effort, boom, pushed him. Wentz, Addison. Wentz, make that Addison, goes from the outhouse to the penthouse, and the Minnesota Vikings go to the winner's circle. 13 different offensive line combinations through 5 games. It's for me, it's unheard of. Talkbacks after drive-bys. Get on in here, family. It's the free iHeartRadio app, 3-2. It's the free iHeart Audio app. And yes, there are plenty of nits to pick with the turnovers and penalties and Addison getting benched for a quarter, and we are here to smash on those too. Addison went from the outhouse to the penthouse, but that indeed doesn't mean all were enthralled with what led head coach Kevin O'Connell to bench him for the first quarter. Said Justin Jefferson after the game, quote, It's a difficult situation. I definitely have my words with J.A. It's just all about growing up and just being part of the team and knowing the stakes, knowing that he's a valuable part of this team. It's more about the team and more about just us as a whole, not focusing individually on J.A. So that had some leadership qualities to it. For number 18, Justin Jefferson, 18, bona fide leader. Well done. And by the way, well done, Kevin O'Connell. You know, there are those who would not see the forest for the trees and would have started Addison because he's good, and they desperately needed a win. And there are those who would have jettisoned the Darisaw recovery plan and kept him in the game, or maybe put him back in the game because he's good, and they desperately needed the victory. But O'Connell stuck to that plan and showed the team, I'm not afraid to bench one of the most pivotal players. Addison became a bit dodgy, and O'Connell was anything but cheeky with his feelings about the situation. And that was kind of eye-opening yesterday. All right. Righty. Talkbacks in 30 or so. Bikes Bites later. PJ Fleck around 10:45, preceded by the analyst, and followed by Young Parker, who's all a Twitter over the Purple victory. Next, our patented locker room drive-bys. And we start with quarterback Carson Wentz, roll into Justin Jefferson, and then chat with 4 members of the makeshift Minnesota Moving Company. Thank you, Timber Tech, for the 9 to noon What's on Deck. And thank all of you for listening to 9 to noon, which is returned to full strength. Always were. That's debatable. Drive-bys are next. But right now, Lordo got some money to give away. And good morning.
Good morning, the fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to win some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. All you got to do, go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword credit for your shot at winning. That's KFAN.com, and the keyword is credit.
The drive-bys after victories and some losses. I'll walk around the locker room with a makeshift contraption that goes into my phone, hoping that the connection to the bottom of the phone doesn't become wonky, so 19 minutes of drive-bys are not jettisoned. That was not the case yesterday. Everything was intact, including quarterback Carson Wentz, where we started with him, walked up on Carson and said, Kevin O'Connell has been known to say, give us your best when your best is required. And Carson and the makeshift Minnesota Moving Company did that, and here's Carson's response.
Good team win, honestly. The way guys were resilient, next man up mentality just continues up front. Those guys fought their tails off, and just to finish the way we did was awesome.
And I'm really glad you said that with the makeshift Minnesota Moving Company, because you start with 3 starters down. Darisaw's on a pitch count, so now you stick to that. School flips. Rouse comes in, and you win the game. How about those guys?
It's unbelievable. I mean, how many people can switch sides playing tackle in the middle of a game, let alone going against arguably the best in the world on the other side of the ball in Myles Garrett? So hats off to Justin, hats off to Huber stepping in today, Walt coming in. Guys played their tails off, and when it mattered the most, guys stepped up.
Last one, brother. And your playmakers came through at the end. I mean, you had to get it there, but this guy right here, Jordan Addison, walks off on him. TJ Hawkinson with some huge catches, and Jefferson over 100 yards, man. I'm just so blessed to play with guys like that.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This crew is special. Makes my life easy just giving them chances to make plays. We missed some today. Definitely want some back. I can be better too, but those guys are special. That's an elite group, and glad we got it done the way we did.
Congratulations, bud.
Thanks, PA. God bless.
God bless. Carson Wentz, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. As the Vikings beat the Cleveland Browns right at the wire. Justin, quick drive-by, real quick. More than 100 yards today. Guy to the right of you, Jordan Addison, walks off. Hawkinson made some big catches late. But seriously, the A topic here, man, is what I call the Minnesota Moving Company, the offensive line. It was a makeshift moving company, 3/5 down. Then Darisaw on the pitch count, and School has to flip during the game, and Rouse comes in, and you guys win. How about those guys?
Kudos to them. It's definitely a big shout out to them. Without them and without their relentlessness and they're eager to fight and not really hang their head versus the adversity, especially with a group like that with Cleveland, they start everything. They're the start of the train, and they make everything go. So definitely, a big shout out to the O-line.
And Justin, I don't want to slow you down. Last one here, man. We got Jets with us, and we either saw at practice or heard all week. Hey, Cleveland's got this nice front seven. Myles Garrett, and Myles really good, but they like to play a lot of man, which they did. Because my take was like, if you're going to think you're going to single 18-3, 87 and/or 1 the entire game, eventually they're going to get you, and they stuck to it. You go over 100 to move the chains. They stuck to it, so I guess credit to them for doing what they do. But you ended up with a big game today.
Yeah, man. I mean, we said it this whole entire year. We have so many different weapons and so many different playmakers out there on that field. We just need to give it to them and let us work and do everything else on his own. So, a big shout out to the O-line. Big shout out to, Carson for even facing that adversity, getting hurt in the first half and still coming back and finishing the job. So, it was just a relentless win, and really, kudos to this whole team for keeping our head up and not really, hanging our head, which, it's countless times we've been through this, but it's just over and over again that we're facing adversity and we're still attacking it head on.
Justin, God bless you, man. Enjoy some downtime, okay? And definitely. I got to say, man, you and I have done a lot of these drive-bys. This is the first 3-chain Justin Jefferson I've ever seen. I mean, those things are beautiful, man.
You want one?
No, I want two. I appreciate you. But I'll take the victory today. Thank you, AJ.
Love, brother.
Much love. Justin Jefferson had a big game today, and Jordan Addison caught the game-winning touchdown. Let's walk around with these drive-bys. And where are we going to go here? I'll walk over here real quick. Hey, Will. How you doing? Just quick drive-by from your announcer. So, I mean, the offensive line, as I go, is the A topic today, man. I mean, you're down 3/5, all right? So you've started every game. But then you tell us, when, like school, he's right tackle, flips over to left because Darrisaw's on the pitch count. How difficult is that to, change positions, into the fourth quarter?
It's super tough, and it takes a lot of, mental toughness too. And for school to be able to do that and play at a really high level speaks a lot about, his preparation, and just his character and his, willingness to do anything to help the team. So, just hats off to him for doing a great job, no matter what he's asked to do, and doing it at a high level too. And
calling the games on the radio forever, I've called the offensive line the Minnesota Moving Company. It was the makeshift moving company today. The guy to your right, Blake Brandel, never had played center in the National Football League game. You leave with the money, you get all the pounds. The guy to your left is Justin School. You got Joe Huber, rookie from Wisconsin, and then we talked about Rouse and stuff like that. I mean, what an effort by you guys.
Yeah, I think it starts with Blake stepping in at center and a guy that is super smart, super tough, and willing to do whatever it takes to help the team. And it's not easy to step in there, and never having done it before in a game, and he played super well, and I'm so pumped for Blake. We've already talked about Justin flipping from both sides, but having such a deep group, and it helps Walter can come in there, do a good job, knows what he's supposed to do, and then awesome for Joe, undrafted guy who just had a great camp. Prepared every single day super hard, just keeps getting better. And for him to get his first start, this quick in his career, he's just going to keep ascending, and he's going to be, continue to develop into a great player.
My man, I know you went through a lot in the offseason, recovering from injury, and it's great having you here, and enjoy your downtime, okay?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Will Fries, starting right guard for the Minnesota Vikings. Justin, we call these drive-bys. We just hit people with a couple of celebratory questions, but you tell us what it's like, all right? I mean, you started at right tackle, you flip over to left into the fourth quarter. That was part of the plan. Darrisaw on the pitch count. What is that like? When you probably practice at multiple spots during the course of the week, but I mean, this is Myles Garrett and a super well-respected front seven.
Yeah, I think it's just part of the job. I mean, they do a good job getting us reps all around at different spots, and so credit to the coaching staff for making sure all of us are always prepared for whatever role that is asked of us, and it just comes down to reps. And so gotten plenty of reps with Joe throughout training camp, and then throughout the weeks throughout the season, and then the last couple of weeks gotten them with Spud, Will as well, and so just kind of keeping that continuity, and the more reps we can get with each of the guys helps.
Justin School, final one here, you joined the team from the Buccaneers. Okay, you started games before in the NFL, but I mean, enjoy your downtime here, man. I mean, you had to miss a game. I think it was a concussion, and you've played left tackle, you've played right tackle, you play right tackle, flip to left tackle during the game. Had you ever changed positions like that during a game?
Not like with that game being that close. I had done it later in a game when the game had gotten out of control, trying to take like veteran guys out. I had moved, but not in that point with the game being close like that before.
I appreciate you, man. Enjoy your downtime.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Justin School, right tackle and left tackle. The Blake, the Minnesota Moving Company, the makeshift moving company, that's my A topic. I mean, Carson, like O'Connell always says, be your best when your best is required. He was. Jordan sits out the first quarter. He was at his best when it was required. He wins the game. Reichert hits the extra point. Jefferson over 100. I mean, okay, so there are a lot of, but it's that offensive line, man. You came into it with 3/5 of the starters down. You're playing center for the first time in the NFL. When's the last time you played center, period?
I've never played center in a game. That was my first go around, believe it or not. Yeah, so just scout team, practice and, trying to work on the craft and make it so I was ready whenever I was needed.
So what was that like? I mean, because, you like you said, you've done it a lot in practice, training camp and stuff like that, but, this is against a super well-respected front seven. That Michigan rookie Mason Graham, taking 5th overall. Malik Collins, like 11th year, man, he's a load. Holy cow. What was it like today?
I think what it came down to was leaning on the guys to the left and right of me, and I think that's what we all kind of did. Played as a unit, played together. KO preached staying connected this week as a team, and I think we did that, and we especially did that as an offensive line, and just trusted each other, and no one quit. It was an awesome game, super emotional, and we're all really, really proud of each other.
Lastly, you've been around a while now. So, I mean, you've been in practice and seen Cam Akers throw before. He was 5 of 8 for 97 yards at Florida State. O'Connell's always been infatuated with his arm all the way back to the Rams days to finally get that call out of the Wildcat, and then he hits Oliver. How great was that?
That was awesome, and, it was game planned, and I had a ton of faith in Cam making the throw, but, we had 2 pullers, and so I'm pulling around, and I think it was Spud right next to me. And just seeing J.O. kind of just, he's out there, and I see the ball go over my head. I'm like, no way, it worked. Yeah. So that was awesome, and props to Cam, props to J.O., props to everybody, props to the coaches. It was awesome.
Hey, man, I know you guys are on the grind day to day, and it's human nature to, look at mistakes and try to correct them instead of thinking about accomplishments. Enjoy yourself during the off time, man, because that wasn't easy what you accomplished today. You had your training camp as a guard was fantastic, and you were the center today, so enjoy some downtime, and congratulations.
You bet. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Blake Brandel, he was the center today for the Minnesota Vikings, victorious in dramatic fashion over the Cleveland Browns. Carson Wentz hits Jordan Addison at the end of the game to win the game. But the A topic from yours truly is the Minnesota Moving Company and the way it performed. Donovan, drive by real quick. I know you didn't play, but my A topic for this game is what I call the Minnesota Moving Company. I've called it for all 24 years I've called games. The offensive line. It was a makeshift moving company today. You're super tough. You play through that wrist knowing you had surgery on the horizon, so hopefully you're back right after the bye or somewhere around there. But the guys in your room, how about the way they stepped up today?
Yeah, no, that was huge. Having a room full of guys who are ready to go at a moment's notice, and not just go, but flip from left to right. I think people don't understand how hard that is, flipping from right to left or left to right, because that's usually flipping your brain of what every play is called, and that's different technique. There's different muscle groups firing off on one edge. So props off to School, Blake, of course, and then Walter flipping sides, doing different positions, because that's very difficult, and they did it at a very high level. And Joe filling in, man, he balled his ass off today, and so. It's just a testament to our room, man. I there's adversity everywhere, and you can, Coach O'Connell always says you can find excuses everywhere, but our job is to protect. Our job is to, move the line of scrimmage, and I feel like everyone in our room has that type of mindset.
Yeah, you ended up with 4/5 of that starting offensive line down. It was the 12th different offensive line combination into the game, 13th when you start moving people around. And if the moving company doesn't come through today, you guys don't win the game. So that's your room, man. And you guys should be very proud of what you did. Enjoy your downtime, okay?
Thank you.
Donovan Jackson, rookie for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's roll over here. Look at this. Hey, how about him right there, Serpo? Ryan. Holy cow. I mean, you've heard me say this to you after games before, like Chicago. All right, that last punt you had with the hang time and everything, I came up to you not doing a drive-by, and I'm like, they needed that like they needed to breathe. 77, that's the longest in the history of the team, man. Has anything changed during the course of the week? You've always been good, but I think I was talking to Dahlman, the assistant special teams coach, and he's like, we're doing different things with Ryan on Friday closer to the game, stuff like that. It seems to be helping.
Yeah, I mean, this whole offseason and leading up to this week, I've just really focused on my drop and my line and just being more consistent punter and fixing up some of those struggles that I've had in the past couple of years.
Ryan Wright, punter for the Vikings with a drive-by. Final one. Enjoy the downtime. I mean, it's only 5 games, but it's training camp and OTAs and everything. And, I was just chatting with Blake Brandell about this, where you guys and coaches are so dialed into fixing and looking at things that aren't right, and let's get them right. Well, this is time to smell the roses a little bit, man. I mean, you're having a terrific season so far, and without that offensive line today, 4/5 of the starters down, you guys probably don't win.
Yeah, I got to give credit to Coach DG. I get great snaps from Depot. I have 2 terrific gunners in Ty Felton and Tavier Thomas, and it makes my job a lot easier when I have those guys around me.
Does it feel weird leaving London, not throwing a pass?
A little bit. I was kind of hoping that they would call it, but I'm grateful for the win, and I'm just glad that I was able to perform.
Tell Ashley and to your parents I say hello. Congratulations on the victory. God bless you guys, all right?
All right, you too. Thank you.
Ryan Wright, a 77-yard boomer. That's the longest, not only for him, but in the history of Minnesota Vikings football. And it definitely played into a victory in come-from-behind fashion for the Minnesota Vikings today. These are drive-bys, 9 to noon. Let's roll over here to one of my favorites. Levi, drive-by. What do you think? The A topic for me today, okay? I mean, you had another tackle for loss. Tyrion right here. Ingram Dawkins had his first NFL sack. IP got back there for a sack. My A topic from this win, and Wentz and Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson came up big late. But the Minnesota Moving Company, the offensive line, think about it, man. You're down 4 guys. Yeah. Darrisaw's on a pitch count. School has to go from right to left in the fourth quarter of a close game. How about that O-line?
Oh, my goodness. It's insane. The togetherness is awesome, brother. It's awesome to see. Yes, sir. Love it.
What was it like playing against Wyatt Teller in that offensive line?
They were good. A bunch of respect for them. They worked us. We worked them, man, and we just got to come back, focus on our techniques and fundamentals, what we could do right, and get back after it.
Oh, my man, God bless you and your family. Enjoy your downtime, okay? And we'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Love you, dog.
Love you, too. Levi Drake Rodriguez, and that was key part of a Minnesota Vikings victory today. Eric, this will be beautiful with a drive-by because we started it by talking to your mom, and now I get a chance. Yeah, I threw her on the KFAN pregame show for a second. She was great, but it's my A topic from this game, man, and I know you play defense, is the offensive line. Yeah. Are you kidding me? I mean, 3/5 of the starters down. Darrisaw's on the pitch count. School has to go from right to left tackle, and you guys win the game. The Minnesota Moving Company, man, the offensive line. I mean, how about that effort?
Yeah, man, it's impressive, man. Shout out to those guys. Regardless of the situation, being ready to go and going out there and doing their thing, whatever it takes for us to get the win, man. I'm proud of our guys. I'm proud of our team.
It was great talking to your mom before the game, too, because we were hearkening a little bit for like 45-second conversation on the radio about when you came into the league undrafted from Cincinnati here, and then now you're back here, and she loves that you play for the Minnesota Vikings, and I can tell that you do, too.
Yeah, I do. I love it, man. It's a family. I've always had love for it since the day I got here, and glad to be here, man. Glad to get a hard-fought win in London after a long trip and into the bye week.
Enjoy your downtime, okay?
I appreciate that, man.
Eric Wilson, last as part of the drive-bys. When 9 to noon continues, we'll roll with some talkbacks, and maybe Carson Wentz will be part of the conversation. He went 9 for 9 on the game-winning touchdown drive, including the final 3 to a beleaguered Jordan Addison.
Thank you, Bismarck.
We'll be right back.
BA, Coach O'Connell has been asked a couple different ways who's going to be starting coming out of the bye. What do you make out of his responses so far, which have not been definitive?
Well, I have not heard his responses. I mean, I've heard some. But I haven't heard any of late.
I think the paraphrase version coming out yesterday it was the sidestep. I'm just happy we got the win.
Right.
That was kind of where we're into the bye, got to get healthy. I'm just happy we got the win.
Right. Okay. I mean,
was kind of the feel yesterday.
I think it requires a fair amount of unpacking that I don't think we have time for in this segment. Ooh! Simply because you got to think about it plays into seeing forest for trees, okay? And think about some things that transpired yesterday. So if the Minnesota Vikings lose yesterday, is the season over? No. I mean, they still can get the bye, rattle off wins, get healthy, make the playoffs. But there was kind of a desperate feel to needing that victory yesterday. So at desperate time, the cliche would go, desperate times call for desperate measures. And I'm telling you, just simply because I just know a lot of people around the league, not everybody would have sat Addison in that first quarter for missing a walkthrough. There could have been different forms of discipline. Darisaw was doing a pretty good job against Myles Garrett. And when he would flip to the right side, like on the Cam Akers pass, he sold that thing beautifully. Christian Darisaw is a high-end tackle in the National Football League. But he also is on a recovery plan from multiple knee injuries that were sustained less than a year ago. So therefore, if the perceived desperate nature of this perceived desperate time caused people to make desperate decisions, then Addison he gets disciplined, but it's not missing time in the game. And the Darisaw recovery plan probably is like, what are we talking about here? He looks great. Feels great, too. Let's just put him back out there.
You want to talk about commitment to a plan.
Right.
You got to go 10 plays, 80 yards, and you got 71 sitting there. You're like, nope, we have the plan.
Right.
And you switch school over to the left.
I got a lot of respect for that.
That's commitment to the plan.
Win or lose, because it's not thinking all of life. Everything is just going to start and or stop right now with what's right in front of us. There are games and careers to be had. So how does that tie into Wentz and or J.J. McCarthy? This is not speaking for the coach or the team in any way. They're committed to J.J. McCarthy as the future of the franchise. Carson Wentz went 9 of 9 on that beautiful game-winning 10-play touchdown drive where Hawkinson's, all of a sudden open all night. And Jefferson is open all over the place, and so is Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
Came through like a high-end offensive football presentation, despite 4/5 of the makeshift moving company being part of it. And they did their part, too. So that's where it stops for me, is there's a seeing the forest for the trees aspect to this decision, if there even is a decision to be made, that you got to properly analyze the past performances of the decision maker,
right? And
what he is apt to do in situations like that. Now, I've said it here and I've said it to some other people that, with J.J. McCarthy, who's going to start practicing, I think, some on the side this week, and then when full practice begins next week, I fully expect him to practice. I was surprised he didn't practice Friday, but it came up raining at Friday's practice, and the pitch, the pasture, the makeshift field at Hanbury Manor was incredibly slippery. So they didn't roll with JJ as in McCarthy on that day, but he'll get back to practice, and it's a forest for the trees type situation. But does the forest have to be seen for the trees in the first one out of the bye?
Yeah.
Against Philadelphia. So now what else plays into it? Which offensive lineman are you going to get back? Where's the Darisaw recovery plan now that you're closer to a full year from this recovery? I mean, is it full game for Christian now? Is it, the Ryan Kelly status? Well, he went to IR. So, you're going to have somebody else playing center. Fries has started every game. Jackson with that wrist could be back in that Eagles game. So that's where I have to stop, because they know more about the offense meshing with certain players and their play style than I do.
Yep.
Because Wentz, all these sacks that have been taken over, I think he got sacked 3 times yesterday. But there was a 5 in there in one of these games.
I think it was 18 through 4.
18 through 4. Holy cow, 18 through 4.
Most in the NFL, yeah.
Damn. Well, with all due respect to somebody of whom I'm quite fond, Carson Wentz, it's not all the offensive line and running back protection's fault.
Right.
Sometimes he moves the wrong way. Sometimes he holds it too long, just like everybody else. Okay, well, where does McCarthy fall in that situation behind what iteration of the moving company out of a bye where you're going to have some more sweet plays to unfurl? I mean, let's get into this around the corner. I want you to think about a favorite play. In fact, somebody can fire a talkback off on this if you want, because we'll make some talkbacks in during the course of either Vikes Bites or maybe at the tail end of the Bursich conversation and so on. But do you have a favorite play from yesterday? And people, I think, will morph to, well, the pass to Addison, front right of the end zone, won the game. And it was a cool play. That's not my favorite play. So just Mad Producer and those in Talkback Nation, think about it for a second, because I want to share mine. What was your favorite individual play from that game yesterday? It could be Ryan Wright's 77-yard punt with Tavir Thomas and Ty Felton getting down there to touch it down at like the 1.
That might be mine.
Right. It could be.
I loved it.
It was big. And so then what's the next layer to that? Well, every training camp, we have some Seth Vernon of the world here to push the punter.
Yeah.
I mean, whether they're from Australia or Portland State, there's somebody always here to push this guy.
Oscar. We want Oscar.
And he keeps coming through, like I referenced in the drive-by. And nobody talked about it because it's, it's a punt in the first game of the season. I think the 7th punt, but that last punt he had at Soldier Field with the hang time and everything, it helped win the game. That punt yesterday, there was a fumble after it, but that helped win the game. But I got a favorite play that I want to share, and I want to share why. And we will do all of that and introduce Vikes Bites around the corner. This is KFAN.